Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and you are watching TTV News, some latest events in the province, and now we come into details. Ladies and gentlemen, for many years, the activity of lighting candles for gratitude to heroes and martyrs has become a cultural beauty, maintained to element by young people across the country. On the occasion of the 75th anniversary of Invalids and Day in this year, in TayNinhTV, this activity was simultaneously organized at all cemeteries across the country by unions from the province to grassroots levels.
There are 9 martyr cemeteries in TayNinhTV province. This is the resting place of over 30,000 heroes and martyrs who sacrificed themselves in the nation's defense wars and in the process of performing international duties. This year, the lighting candles for gratitude ceremony was directed by the Central and TayNinhTV Provincial Youth Union to be held simultaneously at 19 on July 24. The ceremony was held in favorable weather conditions. The union members and youth lit the candles and burnt incense on each grave of heroes and martyrs. Candles and lanterns lighting up the cemetery. After more than 14 years of implementation, this activity has become one of the indispensable activities on each occasion of Invalids and Martyrs' Day, thereby clearly expressing the tradition of drinking water, remembering the source, and the principle of repaying gratitude of the Vietnamese people. TayNinhTV Museum had just cooperated with the Center for Culture and Arts as well as the Provincial Association of Literature and Arts to open the photo exhibition to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Invalids and Martyrs' Day in association with the exhibition of paintings, photos, and documents on the sovereignty over Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelago of Vietnam. The photo exhibition took place at the Provincial Arts and Culture Center. The exhibition displayed and introduced to the public 76 propaganda images about the birth of World Invalids and Martyrs' Day associated with the role and affection that alcohol has for World Invalids and Martyrs. Activities of the provincial leaders in the work of World Invalids and Martyrs in the past years and many paintings, photos, and documents about the sovereignty over Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos of Vietnam. This is an activity to remember, express gratitude, and honor the great merits of martyrs, war invalids, sick soldiers, and the families of people with meritorious services to the revolution in the wars for national liberation and fatherland protection, educate and promote the tradition of drinking water, remembering the source, repaying gratitude, patriotism, revolutionary heroism for countless party members and people of all stature, especially the young generation. The exhibition is open to the public and visitors until the end of July 31st, 2022.
In the afternoon of July 27, the Ministry of Information and Communication held an online conference to guide the implementation of information and communication contents under the National Target Programs in the period of 2021-2025. Mr. Phạm Anh Tuấn, Deputy Minister of Information and Communication, chaired the conference. Attending at the report, there were Ms. Huỳnh Thanh Nam, Deputy Director of Department of Information and Communication, along with representatives of provincial departments.
In the period of 2021-2025, the National Assembly passed a resolution to implement 3 national target programs, including socio-economic development in ethnic minority and mountainous areas, sustainable poverty reduction, new rural construction. At the conference, the Ministry of Information and Communications stated a number of key contents, minutes, goals, and guidelines for the implementation of the National Targets Program for the 2021-2025 period. For the National Target Program on building new rural areas, it has been implemented in rural areas nationwide. The total state budget capital is allocated over 196,000 billion Vietnam dong. It aims that by 2025, the whole country has at least 80% of communes and at least 50% of districts, towns, and provincial running cities meeting new rural standards, completing the task of building new rural areas from 17 to 19 provinces cities that complete the task of building a new countryside. The National Target Program on Sustainable Poverty Reduction has been implemented nationwide, focusing on poor districts and extremely difficult commutes, with a total capital of 75,000 billion Vietnam dong. The National Target Program for Socio-Economic Development in Ethnic Minority and Marginalized Areas will focus on investing in commutes with a large number of ethnic minorities, prioritizing investment in infrastructure, creating livelihoods, developing human resources, ensuring social security, gradually narrowing the development gap between marginalized and lowland areas. Implementing the government's decision number 8, dated March 28, 2022, stipulating the policy to support rent for employees. Up to now, the whole province has over 17,000 employees participating in compulsory social insurance to be confirmed to receive this policy. Up to now, TayNinhTV Social Insurance has confirmed for 218 units with the support level of 500,000 Vietnam dong per person per month. The maximum support period is 3 months. Confirmed for 92 units with support level of 1 million Vietnam dong per person per month. Maximum support period of 3 months. In the past time, the provincial social insurance has gathered human resources, reformed administrative procedures, applied information technology, received and confirmed the participation of compulsory social insurance of employees eligible to receive rent support in the earliest time, ensuring publicity, transparency, and right beneficiaries. The above results have contributed to affirm more deeply the pivotal role of social insurance and health insurance policies in ensuring social security, unanimously working with enterprises to overcome difficulties, restoring and maintaining production activities, and stabilizing jobs and incomes for employees.
Turn to other news. Ladies and gentlemen, in the afternoon of July 26, 2022, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development held a conference to review the mission of the first 6 months of 2022.
In the first 6 months of the year, the GDP growth rate of the agriculture, forestry, and fishery industry remained quite stable at 1.9%, with a value of more than 8,900 billion Vietnam dong, contributing 18.6% to the general economic structure of the province. Although the area of mangroves has decreased compared to before the COVID-19 epidemic period, they still grow and develop well. Estimated total annual planting area is 156,800 hectares, equal to 62.5% of the plant. The situation of animal husbandry in the province has been restored after the epidemic. The number of livestock herds tends to increase. The strongest increase is the poultry herd, with the total herd increasing by nearly 1.6 million heads. The forestry sector has effectively implemented the plan for forest fire prevention control in the right season of 2021-2022 and coordinated well with the party committees and local authorities to organize fire prevention control by many measures to raise awareness and responsibility. Since the beginning of the year, there have been no cases of forest fire in the province. The agricultural sector deployed 10 agricultural extension models on schedule, ensuring technical efficiency and quality, including for farming models to breeding models, for aquatic models, coordinated with the National Center for Agricultural Extension to implement a 57 hectares disease-free commercial cassava production model in Tân Châu, Tân Biên, and Châu Thành districts.
The audience showing our gratitude is moral and also a good tradition of the Vietnamese people, especially in the peak of July every year. This activity is solemnly and simultaneously held, showing the affection and responsibility of today's generation for those who have married to the country. Over the past year, together with the political system and the whole society, the World Cup showing our gratitude has always been paid special attention by the youth union and the youth at all levels in the province. This is a political activity educating revolutionary tradition for the young generation, and it's also one of the key activities of the youth union and young movement of the province.
For many years, in most of its campaigns and voluntary programs, the youth unions at all levels have focused on organizing repaying gratitude activities, in which July every year is chosen as the peak month. Many meaningful activities have been deployed simultaneously from the province to the grassroots. These activities have attracted the active and enthusiastic participation of a large number of union members and youth, creating a strong spillover to businesses and the whole society. It can be said that each job, each project, each part of the union members and youth have clearly showed the gratitude of the young generation to the heroes, martyrs, wounded soldiers, their families of those with meritorious services to the revolution. The activity repaying gratitude is one of the precious traditions of the Vietnamese people. For the youth, this is a responsibility, a beautiful gesture and act of youth to pay tribute to the previous generations, their families with meritorious services to the revolution. Activities on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of Invalids and Martyrs Day are actively coordinated by the youth unions at all levels with functional branches, sponsors, agencies, and units inside and outside the province to implement. In general, the activities are organized very solemnly, cheerfully, with preparation, as well as bringing warmth to the recipients. Along with production, Tân Nhiên Company is also interested in social work. On the occasion of July 27 this year, the company also cooperated with TayNinhTV radio and television station in Hoa Thanh Thao to visit heroic Vietnamese mothers and policy families in the province. Hopefully, this little action will warm the hearts of the sacrificed soldiers and show the hearts of the next generation for the previous generation. During the payment of July for gratitude in this year, on levels of the youth unions throughout the province, coordinated with agencies and businesses inside and outside the province to organize visits and give gifts to heroic Vietnamese mothers, wounded sick soldiers, and policy families, activities of medical examination, medicine distribution, gift giving to wounded and sick soldiers, policy families and people in difficult circumstances in their localities. The activities were organized vibrantly, solemnly, with focus and created a widespread. The youth union at all levels also focused on organizing many activities and mobilizing a large number of union members and youth to participate in cleaning and embellishing cemetery and memorials throughout the province, ensured that on graves of heroes and martyrs in cemeteries are visited and incensed, in which the highlight of the repaying gratitude activities is the lighting candles for gratitude activity. This year, this activity is held simultaneously at almost all cemeteries in the province. In particular, provincial activities were held at the Martyrs Cemetery of Tân Biên District. This is the resting place of nearly 14,000 martyrs gathered in the province and in Cambodia brought home. Here, leaders of the party, state, and union members and youth came together to light candles and burn incense on each grave of heroes and martyrs. Candles and lanterns light up a large cemetery. Up to now, TayNinhTV Youth has basically completed and exceeded the target set out in the pigment of July for gratitude. And not only stopping there, the activities will always be maintained and promoted by the youth of the province. In campaigns and each activity of the youth union, the youth of the province always deeply remember unconscious teachings. Invalids, sick soldiers, and martyrs' families are people with meritorious services to the fatherland and the people. So it is our duty to be grateful, to love, and to have them.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for watching and see